NaMu MyoHoRenGeKyo. NaMu MyoHoRenGeKyo. NaMu MyoHoRenGeKyo. NaMu MyoHoRenGeKyo. Hello, everyone. Thank you for being here. It's good to see you again. Those of you who are new, welcome. We're about to enter the segment of this essay on gratitude by Nichiren, which I think could be a good starting point for anyone who's starting to practice this Buddhism. No doubt I say this because of a recent question on the channel. Somebody asked, I'm lost, how do I use this channel? There's so many videos. Yes, there's hundreds and hundreds of videos on this channel. And by the way, as a reminder, on the home page of this channel, if you go to the channel home page, there's a search window right after the About section. Not the YouTube search, but lower down in the middle of the page, there's a search. And that search will only look within the confines of this channel. And if you use the keyword like resources or how do I use this channel, but searches always work better with single words or 2 words, not too many words. So resource, you'll get a result set of videos from this channel, just a handful of videos that are specifically about how to use all the resources, not just this channel, but the website, the bookstore, the mandala store, so on. The podcasts, right? The Buddhahood podcast. But I thought about that question before I answered it, and I answered it in the comments, so you could find it there. The reason this channel exists and all of the resources that I've built are to facilitate, to support, to inspire, to increase our confidence and remove doubts, because we're human. No matter how much we believe, how strongly we are dedicated or resolved in anything, we can easily be derailed. And Nichiren talks about this, so does Shakyamuni. We're 99.9% of the time when we're derailed, it's because of some samsaric attachment. Something that we want or need or we feel threatened by, even if that is a perceived losing of something. All of that thingifying and that attachment is the very thing Buddhism talks about. The crux of the matter, right? And so this is why Shakyamuni, in his enlightenment, made it clear that there are 3 pillars of practice. First of all, resolve, resolve, resolve. Well, how do you get resolve? You have to have a sense of knowing, or at least a confidence in that what you're doing is leading you somewhere, yeah? Or leading life somewhere. Discovery of a new level, something. kind of using our samsaric nature of attachment, but for the purpose of betterment, of inclusivity, of embracement. There's a word I just made up. How do we do that? How do we feel confident? How do we know with certainty that when I chant NaMu MyoHoRenGeKyo, I am enlivening, awakening my Buddha mind, my mind of understanding, clarity, confidence, security, right? We could be very stressed out, have great anxieties about our environment, how crazy the world is, our own personal relationships. We have doubts about our own mind, right? From the very personal and intimate to the great, vast out there. It's hard to remember in those moments that Buddhism says there's really no separation. And to that, I would reinterpret as, you could say the world around me is a shit show, but is the world around you in that shape? Or is it you that's perceiving the world around you? I'm not saying that you're mentally deficient or screwed up somehow, but in the context of Buddhism, this is called dis-ease, disease, the disease of perceiving the foulness of the world. And I've said this before, life doesn't happen to us. It happens for us. What does that mean, Sifu? What does that mean that life doesn't happen to us but for us, right? I got a ticket yesterday. That happened to me. Not from the Buddhist perspective. The energies flowing, colluded, combined, expressed a potential event that manifested for myriad, uncountable reasons, because everything's moving, everything's in momentum, momentum. There's a kinetics to that. There's a force to that, right? Like a ball or snowball rolling down a long hillside. It grows, it gains mass, it gains energy. And it's hard to redirect it. I don't want it to go down toward the town. What are we talking about asteroids lately? If you've been watching any of that discussion, whether on television, YouTube, phone, whatever. Right? We're throwing satellites at come on, Sylvain, at asteroids to try to deviate their orbit so they'll miss the Earth. Right? We're influencing all the time. This is the human energy. We influence our environment. Our environment manifests commensurate with potential manifestations of momentum. Attitude and intent, attitude and intent. So if you perceive the world around you as a shit show, as I said earlier, I'll say it again. And maybe it truly is, but if in your mind you see it for what it really is, just an expression, a manifestations, multitudes of manifestations of potential energy, then what you should well up isn't fear. What you should well up is compassion. Because it doesn't have to be that way. You don't even have to perceive it that way. If there's turmoil around you and you see it as the expression, I mean, you could hear an animal howling and be afraid for your life. Or you can hear an animal howling that it's simply communicating with its own species. Or you could hear an animal howling because it's in need. Oh, you poor thing, you're in need. What's going on? I don't mean be ignorant to the reality of what's happening. I mean, don't immediately make the judgment that you're in trouble, that the world is a shit show. The world is constantly moving, as you are. And in the roiling expression of potentials, there is always opportunity. Opportunity for magnificence, amazement, wonder, life affirming. And there's a great deal to be said, not just through Buddhism, but through attitude, that we can take whatever the roiling situation is and create something of wonder out of it. Magnificent, awe, joy, attitude, intent, attitude, intent. That's why I say the world is happening for us, for that discovery, for that placement of self that is all things, rather than a cowering little self that's just waiting for something to happen to it. That's not a position of reality. That's a position of diminishment. Our mind, this life that we are experiencing, is tremendous. You must have dignity for this life. And if you have dignity for this life, then how can you not have dignity for all life? Oh, now it's starting to make sense. If I hold life, my life, as all life, as preeminent, then I make better decisions. Then I see more clearly what's actually happening and how to deal with it. Right? That's a very pragmatic understanding of what Shakyamuni was achieving. That was his whole goal. Siddhartha Gautama set as his goal, how do we live this life maximally without caving in to the suffering? What does he call suffering? Birth, illness, old age, death. Not death itself, but the fear of death. It's overwhelming. This is what religion is fetishizing all over the world. Humans have created religion as an escape from living this life. What? This life is your one and only opportunity to be joyful and witness this amazing drama that is the process of life, the universe, at work, manifesting every potential thingness. Wow. Why do we choose to run from that? Religions are about life is happening to you, judging you, and only when it's over, then you can go to the pool and have a Mai Tai. What? That is so nuts. How that still exists in 2022, how it still promotes authoritarianism to quash the spirit. It's taking over our government. Yeah. It's time for Buddhism. Why do we see the world in such chaos? This is the age of degeneration. Shakyamuni knew this 3,000 years ago, that these days would come. So it's upon us, the bodhisattvas of the earth, to really dig deep, to manifest the mind, real, rationale, reason. This life is incredibly magnificent. Anything that says different needs to be destroyed. Destroyed by mind. Stop thinking that way. Change your attitude. That's the message for ourselves and the world. Yeah. You don't have to be Buddhist to do that. But the practice of Buddhism is all about that. So, I'm going to get back to it. I do this all the time, don't I? I'm going to circle back around to the question. How do you use this channel? How do you use this resource? First, foremost, remember 3 pillars. First, foremost, practice. Chant every day. Hell, chant all day. In your mind, out loud in front of your mandala. When you're driving, it's singing. Sing. Isn't that a wonderful analogy? Singing, which is actually the way Buddhism was taught, is a very spiritually liberating activity, is it not? It is a dignifying quality of being a human alive. You can't sing when you're dead. You just can't. Sing. NaMu MyoHoRenGeKyo. Get that Buddha mind active all the time so that you can see with the right attitude, so that you can understand the neediness around you in the world for you to be a positive influence of dignity, of exalted life being, moment to moment. By the way, that's what Buddhism calls bodhisattva practice. Yes, Buddhism has the component that you bring other minds to this awareness, to this awakening of self. Yeah? But you have to be attractive first. You have to show opportunity first. Then people will come to you and they will want to learn. Everybody wants this life to be spectacular, right? That's why we're so in love with celebrity, because we can somehow glean some of that glitter for ourselves. It's kind of a pathetic. You can already do that. You don't need celebrity to do that. You are. What is celebrity? It's a celebration. Every moment of your life should be a celebration. Even if you step in mud in your wonderful new white Prada shoes, it should make you laugh. This crazy universe. Have a great attitude. How do you get a great attitude, Sifu? Chant. Recite Gongyo. Learn how to recite Gongyo. Practice, practice, practice. But Sifu, I'm tired. It feels like I'm just doing this and nothing's happening. Well, then you're getting in your own way. You're having some form of doubt. Or if you can't point to something that you doubt, you're running out of confidence for whatever reason. You know how to build back your confidence? I know some of you go, chant. But sometimes you're just not there yet. I've been there. You know what I do? I pick up a book. I do some research. What is it about Buddhism that I'm not convinced about? What is it, what does this mean, actually? I read that all the time. What the hell does it mean? Great, look it up. Study, 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 study. A very important aspect of our practice is study. Why? Because we want to get smart? No, it's to counteract that lethargy, that laziness, that doubt, that lack of confidence, that lack of inspiration. We've all felt it. Whether we're painters and we lack the confidence to start another painting or finish one, a writer, a plumber. I'm sick of doing these drains. How do I make it more value, creation, dignity, exciting? Commit. How do I commit? How do I get over this doldrum? Seem to be stuck, right? Study. Even just a little bit. Study a word. Doesn't have to be a whole concept. Doesn't have to be the entire corpus of Nichiren's writings. I know I'm doing it on this channel because I want to cover every aspect of questions and scholarship about Buddhism. I'm not asking you to do that. I'm asking you to do whatever you need to keep your practice strong. We all have different needs at different times. So I'm building this great resource on the website, on this channel, on the podcasts, in the bookstore, on the mandala store. I'm doing everything I can to give you as many resources, inexhaustible resources, for you to build your confidence. So how do you use the channel? However you need to support your study. Use the search. What is Dharma? Na and Mu. What do those mean? Thus have I heard. NaMu. I'm committed to MyoHoRenGeKyo. What is MyoHoRenGeKyo? And that brings us to today's video. There are many other videos from 15 years ago that I've done on NaMu MyoHoRenGeKyo, on just MyoHoRenGeKyo, chanting, Daimoku. What does it mean? What does it do? How do I do it? How does it work? It's all on this channel. You can pick and choose whatever it is that you need to research that will increase your confidence. I mean, oh, okay, I get it now. And then when you go, our minds are very complex, and you sit in front of your Butsudan and you look at the Myoho characters on the center of the mandala, and you sincerely, let me give that a try, what I just read. NaMu MyoHoRenGeKyo. I've chanted with each character, I've looked right at it on the mandala. My practice changes all the time because of the focus of my resolve and my inspiration. Whatever I need to get to that experience, to get to that place where I'm chanting in front of my mandala and the mandala starts to dissolve, move around. It ceases to be what I'm staring at, and it becomes this internal realization. That realization is Buddhahood. Nothing convinces you, inspires you, removes doubt from you like that experience. When you experience, when you know you're experiencing your Buddhahood, nothing beats that. Nothing will deter you from that. Even if you go Titan, if you stop practicing for a while, you will always remember that experience. And you'll come back to it. You have to. It's your Buddhahood. NaMu MyoHoRenGeKyo. And this is what Nichiren's going to talk about for the next couple of sections. Ready to get into it? The merit, the value, the dignity, the inspiration of the Daimoku chanting. Question: is there a difference between those who chant NaMu MyoHoRenGeKyo? I put my conviction in the Lotus Sutra. And those who chant NaMu Daihokobutsu Kigongyo, right? The Avatamsaka, the first sutra, the Flower Garland Sutra. Without knowing the spirit of those sutras, is there a difference in the merit between them? Merit, tricky word, yeah? So the question is, if I don't know anything about the Lotus Sutra or the Flower Garland Sutra, but I just start singing the title of the Flower Garland Sutra, is there any difference between that and the MyoHoRenGeKyo, the Lotus Sutra? It's kind of a stupid question, but Nichiren knows this is a potential, what distinguishes MyoHoRenGeKyo from any other sutras? Well, that's all he ever talks about, but let's take the question as read. His answer is, there is a difference. You want to say, duh, right? But anyway. A small river can take in water from dew, drops of water, wells, and creeks, but not from large rivers, right? It just get washed out. A large river can take in water from dew and smaller rivers, but not from an ocean. The Agama Sutras are like a small river which can receive water from dew, drops of water, wells, and creeks. See, there's a reminder again that we're not saying all of the earlier sutras have no value. What the Lotus Sutra is saying is that they're no longer effective, that they don't represent the goal of Buddhist practice. They're just a learning step, right? Just like the way you can count out money requires that you know addition and subtraction, requires that you know what numbers represent. We can't buy food by saying, hey, 2 plus 2 is 4. Oh, okay, cool, have this bread. It doesn't work. We know 2 plus 2 is 4 so that we can then understand the exchange of currency for goods, because that currency holds value and we transfer value for value. But that doesn't happen until the Lotus Sutra, self-awakening. See? The Hodo Sutras, the Amitabha Sutra, good old Amida Buddha, the Great Sun Buddha, right, Vairochana, and the Flower Garland Sutra are like a large river which can take in water from smaller rivers. They're more profound, but they're still not there. The Lotus Sutra is like an ocean which can receive all kinds of water, such as dew, drops of water, wells, creeks, small rivers, large river, and rain. For instance, those who have a fever can cool off lying beside a great body of cold water, but they will only continue to suffer if they lie by the side of a small body of water. Likewise, those who suffer from the 5 rebellious errors and grave errors of slandering the true Dharma, and those who have no conviction in Buddhism cannot cool the fever of their grave errors by lying beside a small body of water. That is, such as the Agama Sutras, the Flower Garland, the Meditation of Buddha of Infinite Life, and the Great Sun Buddha. If they lie on the large snow-covered mountain of the Lotus Sutra, they can definitely cool even the fever of 5 rebellious errors and the grave errors of slandering the true Dharma and those of having no conviction in Buddhism at all. Again, he's using all sorts of analogies, trying to offer insight to this question, why is one superior to the other? And his analogy of lying next to responds to the questioners, even if you know nothing about it. Well, even if you know nothing about cooling your fever, certainly you will experience a much greater cooling in the snow on a mountain than you will by laying next to a small lake. There may be some benefit there, but it will be nothing like the cooling off you'll get from the snow, yeah? Therefore, the fool must necessarily believe in the Lotus Sutra. You don't have to be brilliant. You just have to commit to the snow mountain instead of the pond. It may be easy to chant titles of any sutra. That's addressing the question from a different perspective, right? It's just magic words. Still, the difference in merit of chanting by the fool and the wise is as great as between heaven and earth. So no matter how well studied or erudite you may be, your chanting of NaMu MyoHoRenGeKyo is no different than some very ignorant, uneducated, day-to-day person chanting NaMu MyoHoRenGeKyo. Because Buddhahood is Buddhahood. Do you see? For instance, a thick rope cannot be cut even by a man of great power, but it can easily be cut even by a powerless man with a small sword. Or a hard rock cannot be broken even by a powerful man with a blunt sword, but it can easily be broken even by a powerless man with a sharp sword. You get the analogy, right? A medicine can cure sickness without the patient's knowing its contents, but ordinary food cannot cure sickness. A secret medicine can extend the life of a dying person, but common medicine cannot do it. Though it may heal sickness. Here's the next portion. NaMu MyoHoRenGeKyo, the essence of the Supreme Dharma. Question. What is most essential of the 28 chapters of the Lotus Sutra? Common question. You ever read the Lotus Sutra? When I first read it, many. Anyway, I thought it was very repetitive, very flowery, full of hyperbole. But it was hard to see from beginning to end how this teaching, this sermon, this song was going to help enlighten me. I had to study. I had to study outside the Lotus Sutra to really understand what I'd missed when I read a sentence in the Lotus Sutra, when I went back and unearthed the building blocks of understanding. Then when I came to those sentences in the Lotus Sutra, I totally get what he means here. Had much more impact on me. This is the benefit of study, yeah? So what's the most essential thing? Answer. Some people may say that each of its 28 chapters is essential, while others say that chapters 2 and 16 are essential, right, Gongyo? Some say that chapter 2, expedience, is essential, but others say that chapter 16, the lifespan of the Tathagata, is essential. Still others say that the open, show, perceive, and enter passage in chapter 2, explaining why the Buddhas appeared in the world, or this world, or the passage in the same chapter saying that all phenomena are ultimate reality is essential. Attitude, intent. So he's saying essential, it depends on your practice, doesn't it? Ultimately, the practice is NaMu MyoHoRenGeKyo, but what's essential in the Lotus Sutra to get to that? The whole sutra, everything the sutra is built on, certain chapters. What is it for you? What aha moment do you need to go NaMu MyoHoRenGeKyo with conviction? Always that. Question, what do you think then? Nichiren, okay, you've told me what other people might say, but what do you think? Answer, the essence of the Lotus Sutra is NaMu MyoHoRenGeKyo. That is Nichiren. Understand, Nichiren didn't invent that. Nichiren didn't discover that. Nichiren provided an alliteration, an aha moment for all of us in this latter age of degeneration of what Shakyamuni has been saying for 3,000 years. This is what all Shakyamuni's teachings were about. And the Lotus Sutra is saying it over and over and over again. Thus have I heard MyoHoRenGeKyo, and the title of the chapter you're reading. It's like 28 times in the titles of each chapter, Shakyamuni is saying, this is how you enlighten yourself. And so Nichiren is just saying, hello, everyone. Do you get that? Do you get what Shakyamuni is saying here? Like this, NaMu MyoHoRenGeKyo. Question, do you have any proof? Interesting question, yeah? Answer, it is verified by the fact that Venerable Ananda, Bodhisattva Manjushri, and others wrote, quote, MyoHoRenGeKyo and said, quote, thus have I heard. There it is. MyoHoRenGeKyo, enlightenment, thus have I heard. I'm doing it. I'm here, I'm listening, and I'm doing. Thus is an important word. Thus is a statement of suchness, of how things are, on what it is. Enlightenment, MyoHoRenGeKyo. Thus, MyoHoRenGeKyo. Thus, I have heard. I get it. MyoHoRenGeKyo. I'm invoking it. Buddhahood, MyoHoRenGeKyo. You see the structure? Question, what do you mean by that? This is great. Could you imagine starting out in Nichiren's doctrine of the Lotus Sutra, and you hear these questions that Nichiren wrote, and you're thinking, yeah, I want to know that. Yeah, I didn't even know I wanted to ask that, but yeah. I mean, to me, this should be like one of the first things that you share with a new member or a new practitioner. Member. We're all individuals. So, what do you mean by that? So the answer, Venerable Ananda and Bodhisattva Manjushri listened to every word of the wonderful teaching of the Lotus Sutra for 8 years. And at the assembly for compilation of all the sutras after the Buddha's extension, 999 arhats wrote them down. They began with MyoHoRenGeKyo and chanted, "Thus have I heard." Right? We all learned this orally through memorization. Thus have I heard, da 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 da. That was the form of our meditation, over and over again, repeating the same song, just like you listen to lyrics from Elton John to Caballo, whoever you're currently listening to. Doesn't this prove that the 5 Chinese characters of MyoHoRenGeKyo are the essence of the 1-volume Lotus Sutra, 28 chapters in 8 facets? Monk Fa Yun of the Changchetsu Temple, who is said to have kept lecturing on the Lotus Sutra since the time of the Sun Moonlight Buddha in the past, said, quote, "The word 'thus' is used to show the essence of the Lotus Sutra. Here it is. It is placed at the head of it in the form of the title Daimoku in order to transmit what they heard from the Buddha. The Buddha. Shakyamuni Buddha? Or the Buddha? All Buddha-ness? Well, they may be referring to Shakyamuni Buddha because he is the orator. Yeah? But it also means the Buddha we all experience, that enlightenment. Grandmaster Tendai, who is said to have directly heard the Buddha preach on Mount Sacred Eagle, says that in the words and phrases of the Lotus Sutra, the word 'thus' is used to show the essence of the Dharma they heard from the Buddha. We get it. We get the point of all of this. This self-enlightenment, awakening. We get that. And we got it from the enlightenment, Buddha. Tendai didn't travel back in time and suspend himself in the story of the Lotus Sutra to hear it directly from Shakyamuni. He heard, he inculcated, he grasped the meaning of the Lotus Sutra. That's what that means. Grandmaster Chang'an listened to what Grandmaster Tendai preached on the Lotus Sutra and recorded it as the profound meaning of the Lotus Sutra. He states in it, "The first preface written by Grandmaster Tendai expresses the profound mind of the Lotus Sutra, and this profound mind is nothing but the profound spirit of the sutra." This is the whole point. What is referred to as the spirit of this sutra means that the title, Daimoku, thus I have heard MyoHoRenGeKyo, is the spirit of this one. Grandmaster Myalo says in his commentary on the profound meaning of the Lotus Sutra, quote, "All the teachings of the Buddha stemmed from the title, Daimoku, which is the spirit of letters in the Lotus Sutra. Each note of this song is an expression of this song. And the title of this song contains within it all of the characters, all of the notes that are in this song, all leading to the point of the title of this song, self-enlightenment. NaMu, hearing this song, expressing this song, is the very act of being the song. These are not magic words. This is the function of this human song, human language. It's all our perceptive consciousnesses. We see the words, we hear the words, we intonate the words, we feel them, we breathe them. This is why the altar has candles, incense, a visual focal point. These are all the aspects samsarically of our manifestation of all this potential. And so we create a little micro environment to engage every sense organ, every established consciousness, to raise, to open, to envelop ourselves in the ninth consciousness, the Buddha realization, self-manifesting. You see? There are 70 states in India, all of which are included in the name India. 66 provinces of Japan are included in the name of Japan. There are 50 states in the United States of America. And when you say United States, all 50 are included, aren't they? All their various differences and laws and accents and so on and so forth. When you say United States, you're talking about the United States of America, and you're talking about all 50 states. Obvious, yeah? The name of Japan includes 66 provinces, wings of eagles donated from Dewa province, gold dug out in Mitsu province, and all the treasures, human beings, cattle, as well as Buddhist temples and Shinto shrines. Those heavenly eyes we can see in the 2 Chinese characters for Japan, 66 provinces, treasures as well as human beings and cattle. Through the Dharma eyes, we can even see human beings and cattle being born and dying here and there. Just as we can recognize the body of a man hearing his voice, the size of an elephant by looking at his footprints, the size of a pond by seeing lotus flowers in it, the size of a dragon by seeing the rain it caused, a portion includes the whole in everything. Obvious, yeah? But why does he say this? Because in chanting the title, the Daimoku of the Lotus Sutra, we automatically include all of the chapters, all of the teachings, all of the stories, all of the insights, all of the method of the self-enlightening sermon of the Lotus Sutra. If I say to you a title of a song that you have repeated in your head endless times, don't you have the entire sense? If I say Billie Eilish, which song do you hear? I'm a bad man. Do you hear Ocean Eyes? And when I say Ocean Eyes, didn't the song in your head immediately change from the title I said earlier? When you chant NaMu MyoHoRenGeKyo, you are reciting the entirety of the sutra. We reinforce that again in Gangyo when we specify a couple of the core chapters of the Lotus Sutra, but even in that, we are capturing the entire Lotus Sutra. The title of the Agama Sutra seems to contain everything in it, but has only one Shakyamuni Buddha of the Hinayana Buddhism and not any other Buddha. Because this is about the mind, these different aspects of mind, not the people, right? Follow the mind, the law, not the people. I'm getting a little long in the tooth. Let me finish this chapter. Such sutras as the Flower Garland Sutra, Sutra of Meditation on the Buddha of Infinite Life, the Great Sun Buddha, they all seem to contain everything, but they have no eternal Shakyamuni Buddha who has attained enlightenment in the eternal past, and doctrine of the 2 vehicles, Sravaka and Pratyeka Buddha, attaining Buddhahood. These sutras are like flowers without fruit, thunder without rain, drum without sound, eyes without sight, women without children, and men without life or spirit. You understand, this is the expedient means way, the analogous way of understanding. That he's not talking about an actual Shakyamuni Buddha who exists throughout time. He's talking about Buddha-ness. So none of these teachings point to that consistent manifestation through time, moment, 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 moment. They may talk about it as a distant future thing manifesting, but that's only as a goal set for Goldilocks to go in the house and look for porridge. The one that fits just right, the porridge for Goldilocks, to self-realize. That's only in the Lotus Sutra. These others, they point to it vaguely, but they don't instantiate it right now. The same can be said about the mantras of the great Sun Buddha, Medicine Master Buddha, the Buddha of Infinite Life, Avalokitesvara, Bodhisattva. These mantras may look like a great king, Mount Sumeru, the sun, the moon, fine medicine, a wish-fulfilling gem, and a splendid sword in their respective sutras. Compared with the Daimoku title of the Lotus Sutra, however, not only are they incomparably inferior, but they also all lose their respective functions. Because once you know how to instantiate Buddha, all of these steps of understanding on the various ways of improving your mind, they're just stepping stones. Once you improve your mind completely, then getting there ceases to have any importance. Do you see? It is just how the rays of various stars will be lost before the sun. Right? When the sun comes up, you can't see any stars, because the light of the sun overwhelms any of that light that's coming from who knows how far away, yeah? Pieces of iron will be drawn by a magnet. A sword will be useless when heated by a fire. Milk of cows or donkeys will be like water when compared with the milk of a queen of lions. Foxes will lose their magic power when they see a dog, and how, seeing a small tiger, dogs change their color. Chanting NaMu MyoHoRenGeKyo swallows up the functions of NaMu Amidabutsu, the Buddha of Infinite Life. NaMu Dainichi Shingon, Great Sun Buddha's mantras. And NaMu Kanzeon Bosatsu, Avalokitesvara Bodhisattva. As well as of all the Buddha's sutras and bodhisattvas, all these will be of no use without the functions of the Lotus Sutra, because they're all about other. The Lotus Sutra is about your mind, my mind. This can be seen by everyone, for it has been realized in front of everyone. When I, Nichiren, recite NaMu MyoHoRenGeKyo, the function of NaMu Amidabutsu, Buddha of Infinite Life, disappears just as the moon wanes. The tides ebb, grasses in autumn and winter wither, and ice melts under the sun. This is the ultimate practice. Next video, propagation by commentators in India. Should be interesting. Those two parts on NaMu MyoHoRenGeKyo, this might be a video that would lend itself to sharing, to a deeper introduction to those who've just started to chant. Maybe haven't even gotten their mandala yet. That's one way to use these videos. Back to the beginning. Right? These videos are to encourage our insights, to inspire us, to teach us, to learn stuff. But it's all about increasing our conviction to make our practice strong. And that's the third component of our practice. Our steadfast conviction in it. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being here. Don't forget all these resources. Go to threefoldlotus.com. If you see something lacking on the Q&A page, if you will, the threefoldlotus.com/home/home.htm, that page on the site alone has just dozens of typical starting out and more profound, what are the 5 factors? Right? What are the 10 factors that we chant every day in Gongyo? Yeah. What NaMu MyoHoRenGeKyo, what does it mean? How does it work? All these questions I made buttons on that page. You click on them and you'll get my own research or documents I've written, excerpts from books I've written, or links to the bookstore. But if you see something lacking in there, why don't you have something specifically about this? Or like what you just talked about in this video. Can you capture that? Or is it already there? Ask in the comments. Ask in the email. Let me know. Those are living, breathing resources. I can continue to add to them. So let me know what it is you're struggling with or not sure about. I consider it my mission to answer your questions. As long as they're reasonable. Don't ask me why a Bengal tiger has the stripes that it has and why they're that color. I won't answer. That's just silliness. Ask a question that will benefit your practice and by extension, lots of other people having maybe the same question but in a different way. That's the benefit of this Sangha. And I call this a Sangha because we're all sharing, intercommunicating, learning, increasing our confidence to do one thing. NaMu MyoHoRenGeKyo, right? If the podcasts are helpful, you listen to them while driving the car. I don't want to distract you from driving, but if that's the way you prefer to learn, then great. Whatever you need to support your practice. NaMu MyoHoRenGeKyo. Thank you again. Thank you to our patrons. Your donations, your support for this channel, incredible. We need more of you. But you're also a great support simply by liking, subscribe. Not because I need it for my ego, because this is how YouTube works. We need to make YouTube work for us. Be part of the Bodhisattva effort. Get this video into more eyeballs. This podcast into more ears. We need to propagate this Buddhism. Look at the situation in the world today. Anywhere you look, it's bewilderingly ignorant. So much violence, so much anger, so much greed. It's making everyone miserable. We can affect that. We can influence that. NaMu MyoHoRenGeKyo. Join me, please. Let's do this. And with all of that, I will leave you for now. Can't wait till the next one. NaMu MyoHoRenGeKyo. Take care of yourself. Be kind to yourself. I'll see you next time. Bye for now.